Welcome everyone to this week's episode of After the Bell. I am Jeff Meacham. Happy Monday. Hope y'all had a good weekend. I know mine was productive. We got a lot of stuff accomplished here in the Casa 18 studios. Got some shows taped. Got a little barbecue grill clean. It's good times for all. So, let's get to it. Before I get to it, however, I'm going to throw out the shameless plug now. Dad's 100 this Thursday. Long Beach Clothing Company. What do you guys want to see on this show? Let us know. Video response, giving us a congratulatory comment saying, yay, you got to 100 and you didn't kill each other or didn't get killed by random outside sources trying to shut us down. If you want to see something from the past on the show, if you want to see something that we haven't done before, that we can do legally inside a retail establishment, let us know in the response comment box. Let us know what you guys want to see Thursday night, Thursday morning, whatever time you see that show. Keep us informed. Let us know. Alright, at the end of today's show, I'm going to do a brief review of Cheating Death, Stealing Life, Data Girl story. Because at the end of the day, our time reading it was even briefer than the review's going to be. Alright, today's first questions come from the Facebook fan page at facebook.com/JeffMeacham fan page. It's about the simplest URL we can think of. There we go. Let's see, Tyler Tree. Since they are separated the brands again, are they going to do a draft soon or no? Well, Tyler, you have to understand something. They never officially put the brands back together. It was never made an official stance. Did they combine superstars from SmackDown into Raw and made it a Raw Super Show? Yes, they did. Did they have superstars from Raw cross over to SmackDown and make SmackDown essentially a second Super Show on Tuesday nights? Yes, they did. Did they ever call SmackDown Super Show? No. Did they ever call Raw or SmackDown a new name to signify a new brand show? No. They are still separate entities. They still have their own flagship champions. CM Punk on Raw, Sheamus on SmackDown. At the end of the day, the U.S. champion is technically a SmackDown property. However, the Intercontinental Championship is currently held by a Raw superstar, and he's awesome. The tag titles go back and forth. The Divas title goes back and forth. So it's very much like the Undisputed Era in 2002, except there's two world champions. Do I agree with the way they're doing this? No. And as a matter of fact, and I'm going to throw this out there now for tomorrow's episode, which is supposed to be Renegade of Wrestling, but since there's no indie talk for us at the moment, we're going to do Dad's 99. You're probably wondering, wait a minute, 100 Thursday, just a 98, where's the there's the 99, kids, right there. And part of the topic of tomorrow's show is going to be what JJ and I would do if we were in charge of the brands for a week. So you'll find out what we would do if Vince were to make us the special guest hosts, although it should be special guest GMs. That was a question sent in by one of y'all, and we will tell y'all about it more tomorrow. Are they going to do draft anytime soon? Probably not. There's no need to. Everybody goes to both shows. Unnecessary. Anthony Siddell. Jeff, love the show and never miss an episode. Here's my question. Out of the following wrestlers, which of them would you think had the most influence on establishing the 90-day non-compete clause in wrestling? Jeff Jarrett, Hall & Nash, the Radicals, or Rick Rude? We have to remember, there was a no-compete clause before any of those guys left either company. Because if you recall, when Ric Flair left the WWF in 1991, or 1993, and went back to WCW, he could not physically compete in wrestling for the 90 days. He returned at Super Brawl in February of 93, did not wrestle until Beach Blast in July. So he was out for even more than 90 days. He was just on, doing Flair for the Gold, putting the Horsemen back together, and that god-awful incarnation they did, and building toward wrestling with Barry Windham at Beach Blast in July of that year. So, of those guys, though, you gotta believe it's none of the above. I will say the one that did the worst damage was Lex Luger. Gotta remember, he wrestled for the WWF on Sunday and was at the Mall of America the following night for the debut of Nitro. That's kind of one of those ones that go, hey Vince, guess what? Boom! No, he didn't see it. So that one, but since you named off these folks, I will say probably Rick Rude, while Hall and Nash were first, it was very well known they were leaving. It was more than clear. They didn't compete for an established period of time. Nash did not compete between April and June, when he left the WWF in April and went to WCW in June. Hall didn't compete for like 60 or 90 days himself between WWF and WCW. And Jarrett, well, Vince didn't give a crap about Jeff Jarrett, so it really didn't matter to him. But Rick Rude was at Raw the week before and then went to Nitro and did the whole Live on Nitro taped on Raw on the same day. Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, and Chyna talks about this in her book, Jarrett's contract was up already. It already expired.
Right.
There is no compete clause if your contract runs out.
Yeah. If you are released before your contract's up,
then
you get held. Clause. But yeah, Jarrett did the whole thing with the holding him up for money because his contract was out, and then he was on Nitro the next night. He could have been Royal Vic and took the title with him. He chose to do business for Joni, which Joni even commended him on. So
therein lies the difference with that.
True.
I don't think that Vince didn't care about Jarrett is a fair statement, even though he probably didn't.
Yeah.
Contract ended.
Yeah.
Same thing with Christian going to TNA.
Very true. Very true. I mean, toward the end, Vince made it very clear he didn't want to bring Jeff Jarrett back ever again. So he was just like, whatever, bye. All right, there are there's 2 questions here, it looks like. I don't understand the second one, but I'll read it anyway. Justin Lancaster, Dear Jeff and JJ. So it should be a dad's question, but we'll go ahead and do it for a bit. If Eddie and Chris were still around today, but made appearances from time to time, and they wanted to end their careers on a high note and wrestle each other against each other at WrestleMania in a 2 out of 3 falls match, who would you want to win the match? 1 fall each and then a time limit draw, because that's just wrong to have either one of them win. JJ's back there going like with this, because
at the end of the day, Vince wouldn't do that because he doesn't have that much foresight.
Right.
I would want Benoit to win. Okay, of course we're also eliminating that what happened in 2007 didn't happen because this is a what if.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about them still being around, so he wouldn't have hung himself and killed his wife and kid.
Right, all right. Yeah.
I would want Benoit to win. Vince would probably book Eddie to win, just because Eddie drew more money than Benoit did. But you're right, they should totally pull a Guerrero-Malenko ECW scenario and just let the time limit expire on the 3rd fall and let them embrace in the middle of the ring.
Exactly. The way it should have been a one-night stand when they had their last match. Yeesh. And then he says, how would you want those last 20 minutes of Raw to go out? What? What 20 minutes of what Raw? What are you referring to, Justin? Let me know. Hit me up on that and let me know. You're not going to see this for, as of this taping, 2 days after I say this, but, let me know anyway. And we'll try to get it on next week's show. We'll try to answer that question properly. David Weymouth, do you think it's time for the WWE to retire the Intercontinental Championship? # shenanigans. You're not on Twitter, but I'll take the shenanigans anyway. No, I don't. At the end of the day, they should retire the U.S. Championship. Because the U.S. Championship is being held by a guy who shouldn't be near a championship anymore. He's held the championship too long. He's not defending it enough. And the U.S. Championship was brought back as a supplement to the Intercontinental Championship when they were on separate shows. Now that there's a whole bunch of cross-promotion and cross-pollination and everything, there's no need for 2 secondary titles, in my opinion. If they're going to keep the brands truly separate, then yes, there should be an Intercontinental in the U.S. With all this Super Show and all that stuff, 1 world champion, 1 secondary champion, tag champions, and a women's champion. That's the way it should be. And it should be the Intercontinental Championship. The Intercontinental Championship, at the end of the day, has more prestige. Yes, the U.S. title's been around longer if you want to take that into consideration, but keep in mind, it was also defunct for almost 2 years. The WWE Intercontinental Championship went away for 7 months and then came back. Thanks to the sheriff himself, Steve Austin. Actually, no, he was co-GM at the time. He wasn't sheriff until later that year. Alright, we addressed this on Dads this week. We're going to same with that question. Okay. So that takes care of the Facebook fan page. Thank you all that sent in questions that were necessary. On to the Twitter page at twitter.com/JeffMeacham D18. Not ATB, guys, just so you all remember. Dr. Benzadrine at Mr. Benzie. Thoughts on the whole Joey Ryan coming to Impact? If booked correctly, does this get Joey on the roster? Hashtag shenanigans. You know, I am loving every part of this Joey Ryan thing because at the end of the day, not only are people like Al Snow retweeting me when I talk about it, not only are people like Taz, that big Oompa Loompa orange wearing fool himself, blocking me because of it, but Joey Ryan is getting out there to the worldwide media, not just SoCal, not just a Ring of Honor. He's getting out there and to a global audience. And people on Twitter are following him, and those 87% that wanted him on the Impact roster are behind him, and I'm getting myself a legalized sleeve shirt when I can, an 87% shirt when I can, because damn it, I believe in Joey. And I believe, I'm not drunk enough to start the I believes yet from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Buy my flask, we'll make it happen. Alright. Sean Proctor, I've heard rumors of Taker versus Cena or Taker versus Brock or Cena versus Rock here for the title at Mania. And anything more on Punk Austin. The Punk Austin thing we've addressed 100 times on this channel. It's not going to happen with Stone Cold being the way he is as far as health and his knees and everything like that. So don't look for that to happen. Taker versus Brock was talked about this time at last year's WrestleMania, but they brought back Triple H to feud the Undertaker instead, and that happened again this year. Cena versus Rock 2, I'll look for that to happen, but not at WrestleMania. It'll happen sooner than that, I think, if it does happen. As far as Taker versus Cena, there's a follow-up question that I'll go with that's not from Sean, that came from YouTube, and I'll address that at that time when I get there. Alright. Andrew Betts at Riot49. Will WWE ever have good tag teams again? No. No. They don't care about the division. They don't care about the tag teams in the WWE. They've proven that. They also prove they don't care about the tag team championships because they look like a couple of frickin' Trojan statues. They look hideous. They look like toys. They just don't care. They don't care. Jeff Yelnick on Twitter at JY19. If Eddie Guerrero hadn't passed away, who do you think would have won the 2006 Royal Rumble match? Based on the title he challenged for, it would have been whoever was going to face Eddie Guerrero for the World Heavyweight Championship, because we know Eddie was supposed to win the World Championship the night he passed away. So I probably would have booked it to be Ray anyway, honestly. Only because they probably would have turned Eddie back heel when he beat Batista and Randy Orton that night. And it would have been awesome to see them go at WrestleMania in a rematch from the previous WrestleMania. Although this time would have been much more personal. Think about that for a minute. Emmanuel Dominguez, let me get your Twitter name up, buddy, because it doesn't show up on here. EDM702000. Where have all the divas go on WWE? I haven't seen them on Raw or SmackDown. Hashtag shenanigans. Don't know. We saw Layla, the Divas champion, the supposed leader of the division, chatting with AJ on her wedding night about various crazy goings-on in WWE, and then cut to Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Little Jimmy jump roping with Piper and Truth and Mae Young and her son, and all that stuff. That was the use of Layla that night. Before that, we saw her with Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter. We've seen the Divas on Superstars. Natalya had a decent match with Layla the other night, but yeah, don't know where they are. Perfectly honest. Rex Christopherson did not. Oh, you know, he didn't ask the question. He just tweeted me. So never mind, Rex. I won't pick on you. Never mind. Rex also says happy birthday to Jay, belated birthday, even though he said it before your birthday. So he said you're welcome. All right. Let's see. Sean Proctor, are the rumors of Randy and Stephanie true? Because that's the only way to justify not being a Hall of Famer in my eyes. I did answer this to you on Twitter directly, Sean, but I'll go ahead and answer to everybody. We will never, ever get the answer to that. Randy's gone. Steph's not going to say anything. Vince might say it in the book that he ends up writing, if he does end up writing a book, but I highly doubt that's going to happen, so I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Anything else on Twitter? I'm humming along, distracting myself. Okay, that's it for Twitter. Very brief. Thank you guys. YouTube questions. Here we go. The 52 MJ Barnes. What would happen if Triple H and Stephanie had a messy divorce and ended up hating each other? Would Triple H lose his job at the offices? You know, that is a very interesting question you ask, because Triple H, at the end of the day, you know, has proven that he has the whole, you know, corporate mindset and has the insight to book and everything. He was doing that with Shawn Michaels prior to hooking up with Stephanie. The Clique had some serious stroke in the late 90s, especially in the mid to late 90s, around 96, 97. So I don't think Hunter would necessarily lose his job. He would definitely have some serious issues to contend with dealing with his ex-wife on a weekly basis, but I think they'd be pros and rise above. I really think they would. WWE Anime fans, have you ever watched WWE's Are You Serious, and what do you think of it? That show's freaking hilarious. I don't even like Josh Matthews, and that show has me rolling on the floor laughing with JJ every time we lose about 3 weeks worth, have to get caught up, and then we're watching it 3-4 times in a single sitting, and we're trying not to, you know, fall off the couch. Stuff is hysterical. I approve. But gosh darn it, has some consistency. At the end of the day, Josh Matthews got wasted by Brock Lesnar, and then he was locked back in the basement of WWE.com at WWE headquarters. They should have replaced him with me or JJ or, you know, somebody. Or, you know, yeah, have Road Dogg and Puppet H host the show for a while Josh is recuperating from the Brock injury. Although, if he was interviewing Brock and he's hosting SmackDown, how did he get out of the basement? And how did Road Dogg appear with DX the other night? There's no consistency. PunkFan97, where do you see the big three in the next 5 years? WWE still surviving and thriving. TNA surviving, probably thriving as well. Ring of Honor will definitely establish himself as a big three. They'll get that big deal. What are your thoughts on Open Fight Night? I like the concept. I wish it was like a legit thing. It wasn't like, you know, scripted. I do like the concept. I think it's very cool how they stage that. I think it adds a aura of the fans are gonna know what's gonna happen next, and it seems like superstars don't know what's gonna happen next either. So that's really cool. Where do you think the Aces and Eights storyline is going? Will it be Jeff Jarrett behind them? Yes, it will.
To be fair, the question just says Jeff behind them. It could be Hardy.
Could be Jeff Hardy. Could be Jeff
and
Jarrett.
Another heel turn.
Could be Jeff Meacham. You just never know. You just. Is Cowboy James Storm's real name Jeff? Is James Storm's real name Jeff? Okay, well then he's out of it. Noel Draven. OMG, I love the effing Mark line on the last show. Who was that? That was the New Age Punisher. That was B-Boy on the show. You want to look up the New Age Punisher B-Boy and check out some awesome work from the last decade or so, that's where you go. And if you want to see him live, you got to come to Battleground Pro Wrestling each and every month at the Legion Hall on Florista Street, 32524 Florista in Los Alamitos. That's where you need to be. August 25th is the next show. Be there, or you're just not one of the cool kids. Simple as that. Okay, here's the Undertaker follow-up. Here we go. Cam Rocks Your Socks. Do you think the best way to turn Cena heel is to have him cost the Undertaker the streak by interfering in his next Mania match? No, I don't. I think the best way to have Cena turn heel is to be the one to end the streak himself in the match. Talked about this. Undertaker has nothing left to conquer. He's beaten them all, 20 straight, with a break or two. But, you know, he's won 20 in a row. He's defeated Cena before, but only when John was on the rise, the early Doctor of Thugonomics. He is not defeated. He's defeated Word Life. He's not defeated Hustle, Loyalty, Respect. You Can't See Me. He's not defeated Superman. And if Superman detects The Undertaker's kryptonite and takes him down, the people will despise John Cena for the first time universally. Alright. On to our book review. Very briefly, because unfortunately I didn't get to finish it this month because there was just so much stuff going on around here and out of the house that we had to take care of. And JJ didn't even get to read it at all because, well, I borrowed his copy because my copy, I brought it to Aaron Riffs when I was taping Talk Wrestling out in Northridge, and I dropped it in the gutter and it threw it away, and then I had to throw it in the trash because it was all soggy and gross. So there's only one copy around here, and I got to his return to WWE in 2002 after rehab and all that and being fired, and then I couldn't finish it. So, but I do enjoy this book thoroughly. I love Eddie's story. Very, very great story. It's a sad story at the end of the day because you talk about, there's a chapter in here, and it's on the DVD as well, that Dean Malenko didn't want to be the one to find his friend dead in a hotel room, and that's why they intervened, and then he passed away in a hotel. So it's just like, crap. So I recommend the book. It's a great read. Please go out and buy this. Go to WWE.com. I'm sure they have it on the Shop Zone. Go to Amazon.com. Find it on eBay, and go get Vicky or Chavo to take a look at it and sign it for you. The consensus was made with JJ that y'all want him to get Vicky to sign this copy, so SummerSlam Access if it happens. There you go. As far as for August, we shall see what the future holds for Casa D 18 and the Book of the Month Clubbers. Please be something we haven't read recently, or read 100 times. Yes! Bobby the Brain Heenan. I love it! Now, first book? First book. What's it? Bobby the Brain, Wrestling's Bad Boy Tells All, with a foreword by Hulk Hogan brother. This book, I read this, I picked it up, and I got it signed the same. I actually got the first one for Christmas, then I got the second one the day it came out at Rob Van Dam's store. Got them both signed by Bobby that day. Met Bobby, got to award him the plaque for Extreme Mayhem Guest of the Year. There's a picture of that. Great times. I love Bobby Heenan. I consider him one of my favorite people in the world, not just wrestling, but period. And you guys need to go out there. I don't have it in front of me. I'll show it on next week's show to plug the book club. But Bobby the Brain, Wrestling's Bad Boy Tells All, written with Bobby and Steve Anderson, with the foreword by Hulk Hogan, a little bitty picture of Hulk Hogan in the corner, and one of those freaking mashup shirts that he had that has like his cartoon image on it, the red shirt with like this, kind of like this. And I'm stalling because Statboy's getting me the Bobby the Brain Heenan book, so I can do it now instead of having to wait till next week. Oh, good job, Statboy. There we go. Oh, there it is. Bobby the Brain Tells All. This is a tremendous read. It's not long. Y'all can do this. It's less than 31 days this time, but you can do it. So pick it up. Borrow your friend's copy, because you know your friend's got a copy. You're watching this show. You're wrestling fans. You got Bobby's book. All right. We will see you tomorrow for Dad's 99 and beyond this week. For now, this is Jeff Meacham saying so long.